This is our town hall meeting. And that leads me to invite one of my mentors, someone I respect very highly, someone with a lot of wisdom, a lot of years of experience. He is a father to our generation. And having said that, it is an honor and a pleasure for me to invite Mr. Sola to the stage. Thank you, sir. I yield the mic to you.
Thank you for yielding the mic. Just for those on Zoom, Mobu, please can you allow me to share my screen so those on Zoom would see my screen?
It is allowed, sir.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to this event. This is my first time of multi-channeling. So this is good, interesting. I normally do Instagram and Facebook together, but to do Zoom and Clubhouse, it's going to be interesting. Anyway, I'm going to take you on a journey. I think the plan is I monologue for about 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and then we yield to questions. So here we go. Right off the bat, the three words that I want to kind of start with and maybe end with are three words this. Number one, legacy, impact, and value. And these are words that the younger generation don't really think about, but the older you get, legacy, impact, and value become very important characteristics of what you need to do in life. So think about it as we go through what I'm going to share today: legacy, impact, and value. What legacy do you want to leave behind? What impact do you want to have on people? And what value do you want to add? I was reading a book today called Believe It by a lady called Jamie Kalima. Jamie Kalima, by the age of 45, had been a TV presenter. She'd been on Big Brother. She was Miss Washington. She grew a brand, sold it to L'Oreal for 1.5 billion, and now she's a motivational speaker. So it just shows you that actually in 45 years, there's a lot you can do. And the question is, what legacy do you want to leave behind? What impact do you want to have? And what value do you want to impact on people? In the present day, most of us will think about money, experience, and success. But as you grow in your career, three different words come to light: wealth, influence, and significance. And if you want to build those three things, if you want to build wealth, if you want to build influence, if you want to build significance, then you have to take a different approach to how you look at life. I always say your network is equal to the value of your network and your ability to create value. How much value can you truly create? And how big and how influential is your network? Because those two things combined together is what gives you your net worth. So how do you manage your network? If you look at my LinkedIn profile, I have about 14,000 people in my network, in my community. And I say there are 5 things to managing a good network. Number one, understand your network. Who is in your network? What is your network for? Some people in my network are people that I worked with before. Some people in my network are people I mentor. Some people in my network are people that mentored me. Some people in my network are people who I look up to. So understand your network and what is that number. Number 2, connect to your network. A lot of people have a lot of people on LinkedIn or on Facebook, but you don't connect with them on an annual basis. I make it my point of duty that 80% of the people in my network, I would at least connect with them once a year. That's my challenge. Learn from your network. So if you have a network, particularly if you have them on LinkedIn, learn from them. See what they're posting, like what they're posting, engage with them. Number 4, give to your network. If you have a network and you're not giving to that network, then that network kind of dies. And finally, connect others to your network, right? The reality is that we always say that people are 3 degrees away from the people they need to contact. And so if you're giving with your network, if you're connecting others to your network will grow and will have much value. So when you talk about value, I have this pyramid that you can't see on Clubhouse, but I'll talk you through it. At the bottom of the pyramid is number 1, going above and beyond, your ability to deliver value. You know, you have to be somebody that delivers value, and I will speak more about this as we go along. Humility, your ability to listen. I mean, Clubhouse hopefully has taught us a lot of things, to listen to what people are saying. Number 3, mirroring. Your ability to read a room and mirror the room, mirror the emotions that you're seeing in the room. Number 4, your curiosity. Your ability to zoom into an issue and zoom out of that issue to fully understand what's going on. And finally, talent. Your ability to solve problems. What is your talent? Like if somebody woke you up in the middle of the night and said, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, are you able to do it? So that's your talent. That's what you can do without thinking, your ability to solve certain problems. The 5 rings of continuous growth are: number 1, mentoring. We're going to talk a little bit more about mentoring later. Your own desire for personal development. Number 3, coaching. Your ability to get coached and get experience. Number 4. And number 5, challenge. You can't coast and grow. Challenge helps you grow. People don't like challenge, but challenge is the best time you grow. The best time you grow is when you have that tension between your ability and a challenge. And you crossing over is how you grow. So the need for a mentor. I was going to do a poll and ask people on Clubhouse whether they've had a mentor, but I'm not going to do it. I'll skip that. Just because there's not a lot of people on Zoom. Unless you still want us to run it, mobile. Do you have it?
Oh, I think the link is available for people on both platforms.
Okay, you want to put the link out there then?
Yes. Izu, the link was sent. Just check the chat. You will see it, so you can post it for the. Okay. There is one. Yeah.
All right.
There's one that has been posted.
I think it's on Slido, right?
Yeah, it's on Slido. Yeah.
Okay, so if you click on the link, it will be good to just answer the question. Have you had a mentor on your journey so far? It's a simple one, yes or no. So if you're on Clubhouse, can you also click on that link and just so we can get a view of what people have done or not done, just so I can have an idea. All right. I don't know. Mobile, can somebody just kind of read out the percentage if people have finished you clicking on it?
Okay, people are still coming in.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's changing in real time.
Okay. But I can't see that.
Okay, let me share that screen.
All right. Should I stop sharing so you can just share it, or?
Okay. Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop sharing so you can share it. Wow. So just to let you know, for those who are in Clubhouse, for those on this call today, 80% of the people on this call have not had a mentor. Wow. Okay, it's changed a little bit. Now it's 70%. Ooh, okay. But maybe just wait for it to kind of calm down a second.
Yeah, I think the people on Clubhouse just got the link as well, so maybe.
Yeah, so I just posted the link on the Clubhouse. So ladies and gentlemen, we'd like you to just click on the Clubhouse, the link up here, just above the head of Dr. Yewa and Desamo, and you just find the link. We'd like to know what your thoughts are. All right, thank you. Mr. Sholas, we are good. The details will be sent in to you by Mr. Mobile. Thank you very much.
Okay, I can see. So I think we're about 50. Well, right now we're 50-50. So 50% have had a mentor and 50% haven't. It's kind of now going back to 60-40. But I mean, it's just to kind of get a feel. Mr. Mobile, I'll start sharing my screen again. So, all right, thank you. All right, so there's like a, let's call it 60-40 for today, right? Of people that have had a mentor and 40 who haven't. But hopefully what I'm going to share for the next couple of slides or the next couple of minutes will be helpful for both groups. So, okay. Just kind of, why is mentoring important? Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. That's by John Crosby. That's what a mentoring should be about. And I'm going to take you on a very quick whistle-stop tour of my own career and talk to you about the mentors in my life, and then we'll jump specifically into mentoring. I'm keeping an eye on time. So I started my career journey when I finished my first degree in Nigeria, Obafemi Awolowo University. I studied civil engineering, and then I went into a place in Nigeria called Delta State, where I did my national youth service, worked as an engineer there. Finished my youth service, went back to Lagos, but there were no engineering jobs available. So I went to work as a magazine editor for about 6 months. After 6 months, my fiance, who is now my wife, moved to the UK, born in the UK myself. So I followed her. And when I got to the UK in 1993, there were no civil engineering jobs. In fact, I think I applied to about 100 different companies and I got maybe 20% responses. And most of them said, if I was going to hire anybody, I would hire the people I just let go. Why would I hire you? That's new. So I pivoted straight into becoming a security guard. Yes, that was the first job I had in the UK. And when I got on that job, I met my first job mentor. And I like to talk about this. I differentiate between a job mentor and a career mentor. And I'll talk to you about career mentors in a second. But my job mentor was Amanda. She's the one that taught me how to be a good security guard. After about 9 months of doing that job, I thought to myself, if I'm going to stay in this job, I might as well be the best at it and get paid more. At the time, I was paid £2.50 an hour. And so the fifth step on my career journey is I moved to another company called Securicor, where I became a store detective and I did a bit of bodyguarding, if you would like. And one of my claims to fame is that the first Take That concert in Manchester, I was on duty that night as a bodyguard. Anyway, one night I was doing an 18-hour shift in a care home, and I saw an opportunity that was pasted on the board. It was positive action for African and Caribbean graduates. I'm a graduate, I'm African, I thought I would apply. I applied, and there's something I must say about this. When I applied, I looked at my application form and I said, how can I make my application form stand out? So when it came to the box, I said, other, I said, okay, I'm going to write this in there. I will give you 101% commitment. And actually that triggered the interest of the deputy director, John Wilson, who then said he was going to do the interview himself. So I get into the interview room and he's there and he looks at my CV and he says to me, what have you been doing for the last 18 months? So I've been working in security. So I'm going to change this entire interview around and I'm going to focus it primarily totally on security. You tell me how you can secure this university, and based on what you say, you either get the job or you don't. The good news is I got the job and I worked as a graduate trainee for 1 year. And at the end of my 1 year, my boss at the time said to me, we like you to stay, but we don't have a job for you. Why don't you write a job spec for yourself and then apply for it? So I wrote a job spec for a technical clerk in the University of Manchester. 24 of us applied for it. And I was lucky to, I got the job. And so I worked in the University of Manchester, and that's when an opportunity came. I came to a fork in the road, whether I should go down the accounting route or I should go down programming. And because my dad's an accountant and he was a fellow as an accountant, I thought to myself, nah, I'm not going to go down the accounting route. I'm going to try programming. And along my journey, I already had a lot of job mentors. Ian was my boss when I was at the University of Manchester. He was my mentor. And then I moved to the College of Law in Guildford, where I was an analyst programmer, programming mainly in Visual Basic. And I worked there for 2 years. I was the lowest ranking developer because I taught myself how to develop. By the time I was leaving, I was their best ranking developer. I left there and I went to GlaxoSmithKline to work as a senior analyst programmer. And when I got to GlaxoSmithKline is when I first met Belinda, and then I met Anne, who were my career mentors, who kind of helped me realize that I could have a career rather than just a job that I get paid month by month. And they began to frame the framework of what I have today as my career. So I worked as a senior analyst programmer. I got promoted very quickly to a lead analyst programmer. And while I was at that, I realized that all the programming jobs were going to India. This was the beginning of the outsourcing game. And so I pivoted by wisdom from a friend to becoming a business analyst. Once I got into business analyst, I was there for about a year. Then I realized again that, okay, all the BA jobs are also going to India. So I jumped into project management. I think it was when I got to project management that I discovered human resources. A friend of mine said to me, you like people, you take care of people, why don't you go into HR, the tech side? And so I went into HR and I was a payroll manager for the IT side. So I was the IT payroll manager for the GlaxoSmithKline, paying about 20,000 employees on a month-by-month basis. And while I was doing that, about 6 months into that role, my boss called me to a private room and said, look, I'm leaving the company. I'm moving from Glaxo. I'm moving to BP. And I've asked my boss to basically give you my job. We're in the middle of an outsourcing deal where we're outsourcing all the HR platforms in the US and the UK to a new company. And I'd like you to take on that job. And so all of a sudden, I went from being a novice in HR to now being the program manager for this outsourcing project, which took 2 years. While I was doing that project, I came across the concept of consulting because I was working with these consultants from the other company who were helping us do the outsourcing. And they basically encouraged me, challenged me to apply for a consulting role. At the time, I was working in Philadelphia, North Carolina. We was working in Philadelphia and in North Carolina. And so I applied and I got a job at Accenture. And when I got to Accenture, I really needed career mentoring because now I'm like, where's my career going? Where am I ultimately going to end up? And yeah, luckily, I went in as a consultant, got promoted to a senior project manager. And after 2 years of working at Accenture, I got headhunted to work at PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I started off my role there as a manager. And I always say this, that when I got to PwC, I realized I needed to pivot from being just a manager to being a leader. And Laura and Barry were phenomenal mentors that really helped me navigate my career. And very quickly, I was promoted from manager to senior manager. And then I got to become a director. I'm just fast forwarding the story because the point of me telling you my story is to kind of show you how mentors guided my direction. And once I became a director at PwC, heading up success factors for the whole of the UK, I realized that my career hit what you call maybe a glass ceiling or an obstacle, because my boss at the time said to me that my face doesn't fit. This was way before Black Lives Matter. And I just realized that, okay, if my face doesn't fit, I'm not going to get the next promotion to become a partner. I better pivot out. Again, Barry, my career mentor, was very helpful in helping me do that. And so I pivoted out and went to join a company called Deliveroo. For those in the UK, you will know this company. It's a food delivery company. And I helped them. Basically, I was the global people operations lead, and we were operating in 13 countries, and we pushed out to all those 13 countries. Spent about 18 months there, and I got headhunted by this company called Naspers at the time. And Naspers at the time, for those of you who have Nigerian heritage, they basically used to own MultiChoice and DSTV, Super Sports. These are all companies that Naspers own. Today, they own companies like OLX, PayU. And about 2 years ago, we floated on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. So that's why I work for two companies called Naspers and Prosus. Joined as a senior director. And at the middle of last year, I got promoted to vice president. And so my role today is vice president, global people technology. I say all that to kind of give you an understanding, right? I'm going to skip that slide. And basically talk about three things. You know, as you grow in your career, teaching, mentoring, and coaching are very, very vital things that would help you. Teaching helps you to understand the raw concepts of what you're doing. Mentoring helps you to kind of navigate to where you need to go. And coaching is those people that come alongside you that kind of keep you going. But let's focus in primarily today on what is a mentor. So that's kind of the focus of what I want to do. So next 10 or so minutes, I'll do that and then I'll stop for questions. So what is a mentor? Mentor is an advisor. Somebody who can advise you, encourage you, train you. The words that are synonymous with a mentor are advisor, monitor, counselor, tutor, guide. One of the most powerful things about a mentor is someone who takes you on a journey that they have been on. And they can therefore show you shortcuts to the destination. Barry, my career mentor, when I was at PwC, he had been a partner for 21 years, thereabout. And so he was able to show me how to get to that director promotion, which is a huge upheaval when you're in the consulting world. A mentor has been there. They've been there. They are there. They know how to get there. And they can tell you how to get there too, if you have one. And they can show you how to get there. And that's the real value of mentorship. It really is about shortcuts, asking you the right questions, validating your own thinking, helping you navigate to get to where you need to get to. A mentor sees greatness in you and finds a way to bring it out of you, right? That's the power of a mentor. That's what a mentor does so very well. They see greatness in you like a shell, and they can extract it from you. They can pull it out of you. They can challenge you. They can encourage you to become the best you need to be. So for those of you that haven't had mentors, or for those of you that have mentors already, let me give you 7 questions that you should ask a mentor before you get into a mentor-mentee relationship with them. Number 1, the first question is, what is your vision, purpose, and overall drive, right? Because if you don't understand what the vision of your mentor is and their purpose and their overall drive, you won't be able to really know how this person can input into you. So understanding their vision, their purpose, and their overall drive helps you to know that the person inputting into you has clear direction for themselves. You don't want to be mentored by somebody who doesn't know where they're going. And don't get me wrong, a mentor isn't perfect. A mentor isn't perfect, but for where you want to get to, they've been there and they can show you how to get there. So understanding, number 1, understand the vision, purpose, and value of the mentor. Question number 2, what do you like most about your career? Because this question gives you an insight into what motivates them as mentors and can be useful if you're thinking about switching careers or trying to understand your own career. If you're not sure about your next step, you can actually ask a mentor to say, hey, what do you really like about your role? Question 3, what has your path been like to date? Like, how did you get here? Is it representative of most people in this kind of position? Because this gives you an insight into the mentor's world. So for example, for me, if you ask me, I didn't stay in one place. I've moved around. I've been agile. I've done this and I've done that. And I am here where I am today by virtue of multiple different things. And so if you're looking for a career that's just straightforward, like a doctor that becomes like a surgeon, I might not be the best mentor for you. But if you're looking for somebody who's kind of been here, done that, touched this, touched that, had to jump over a few walls, had to navigate career, had to change, had to redirect, like, how come I'm sitting here today talking to you as the Vice President of People Technology, and I studied civil engineering? How do those two things link? They do, but it's only when you hear my story that you see how they link. Question number 4. What are the most challenging aspects of your job? Because you want to make sure that you're being mentored by somebody who understands complexity. So if they don't understand complexity, I remember somebody was asking, I was talking to somebody once and they said to me, oh, my job is so easy, I can do it closing my eyes. Now, I don't want to be in a mentor-mentor relationship with someone like that because they're not being challenged themselves, and the likelihood is that they wouldn't challenge me either. Question 5, how much time can you give to this mentorship relationship? This is a critical question that people don't ask. They say to people, oh, I'm being mentored by X or Y and Z, but actually there's no planned time, there's no arranged time, there's no opportunity to really build on that relationship. This question allows you to know how much time they have to give to this. Although it's still your responsibility, in my view, the mentee's responsibility to drive the relationship between the mentee and the mentor. And in some cases, some mentors would actually charge because their time is so precious. And if you want their time, then it's going to cost you. The same way coaching. But I doubt you can get a coach that doesn't charge. And if you get a coach that doesn't charge, I'm not sure how much coaching they're doing, right? So that's just my view. And I know it's not everybody's view. And yes, I do have people I mentor who pay me, and I have people I mentor that don't pay me. But the point is not about the payment. The point is really about understanding how much time I can input into this relationship as your mentor. Question 6, have you mentored people before? Because you both might be green. Like if you haven't had a mentor before and they haven't mentored somebody before, then you're both green. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying that it gives you an understanding of the background from where that person is coming from. So always ask that question. Have you mentored people before? The final question. How do you balance work, life, play, faith in order to avoid burnout? It's important that you understand this. So you understand the person you're dealing with. So for me, for example, I don't believe in work-life balance. Definitely not, I don't. Because I don't think it's achievable. But what is achievable is being present. So when I'm working, I'm present working. When I'm spending time with my family, I'm spending time with my family. When I am in my faith, I'm spending time in my faith. And so that's how I avoid burnout. I stay focused on what I'm doing. I stay present in what I'm doing. When I'm at work, I'm not doing Facebook, right? When I'm at work, I'm focused on work and I give my time to work. And when I'm with my kids and I'm doing family time, I don't take emails, right? And so I learn to compartmentalize and be present. That's how I do it. And so if somebody came to me and said, oh, I'm trying to do work-life balance, I'm like, I'm not your guy because I don't do it. All right, let me move. Most important thing about mentoring is you understanding who you are. What is your mission? What motivates you? What rewards do you expect? What is your purpose in life? Because there's no point going to a mentor if you don't know your purpose in life. But if your purpose is for your mentor to help you find that, okay, they can question you and get to it. But at the end of the day, it's got to be your purpose. What defines you? If I ask your boss, your spouse, your family, what would they say about you? What rights do you have? What's your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities you see, and what are the threats that are in front of you? Most importantly, why do you do what you do? And what are you doing it for? Expand your mind and you'll be amazed at how much you can actually do. And a mentor is supposed to help you do that stretch in your mind. Life is about accepting the challenges along the way, choosing to keep moving forward and enjoying, savoring the journey as you go along. And I'm bringing this to a close so we can get into Q&A. You're unique. You stand out. There's no point jumping into a crowd. And a mentor can help you stand out and add value. So I never do a talk without recommending a book because I feel like one of the most powerful ways you can grow as a person is to read. And so I'm going to make 4 recommendations, I think, today. Number one is don't worry, I don't get any commission on any of these books. One of the books is Tribe of Mentors. You can find it on Amazon. It's by Timothy Ferris, and he kind of basically pulled stories of so many different people. One of my greatest guys that has mentored me from afar, Ram Chandra, he wrote a book called The High Potential Leader. And if you think you're a high potential leader or you want to be a high potential leader, you should get that book. Number 3 I want to recommend today is How to Lead Smart People. It's kind of a collaboration work. It's mainly designed for consultants, but it's a great book if you're trying to become a smart person or lead smart people. And then the last book I want to recommend today, my favorite book from 2021, Betting on a Darkie. It's just a story of an amazing guy who, against all odds, surfed the wave and became CEO of multiple companies in South Africa. Final comment before I hand back to Mobo and maybe take some questions. The more you read, the more things you would know. The more you learn, the more places you will go. That's by Dr. Seuss. With that, I think I've ended my monologue and we can switch to questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sola. That was a fantastic delivery. And I'm very sure that many people, those on the Zoom platform and those on Clubhouse, have greatly been impacted. Very shortly, we will be putting the headquarters freelance, the general platform, the link on the Clubhouse so you can click it. And with permission to the organization, we might consider to send some of the resources to a few of you that will be interested, but you must be a member of the community, the large community. However, I will just return to Mr. Mobile, but in case you have any question you want to ask, you are in the VIP lounge. Feel free to you can raise your hand and show up to be able to ask your question. We would like to interact with you. We'd like to know you, and we'd like to also know your contributions in terms of tech and what you have learned so far from Mr. Sola. For me, it has been an amazing moment with Mr. Sola. At this very juncture, I'd like to yield the mic to Mr. Mobile. So sorry. I'm yielding the mic to you, Mr. Mobile, connecting to you already. 40512. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Izu. First of all, I just want to recognize the mentors I have here. And one other mentor of mine just joined, Mrs. Vivian. So thank you so much. You're welcome, Ma. But Mr. Sola, I mean, the words that came out of your mouth just it sends my note is filled. It sent chills throughout my body, because it just informs me that greatness is not, it doesn't come overnight. There is a journey to this thing. And I had put out a post on my social media months ago, you know, and basically I put a picture up. Those on Clubhouse can see it. It's basically this was a place I was in for 2 years, about 2 years. And I was working for the Crown Estate. And when I say I was working for the Crown Estate, it means that you're working for the Queen, you know, at one of their properties. But my job I was in this box for 14 hours every day. 14 hours every day, because I was the CSO. I was the chief. I was the security guy. But you know, and this place actually impacted a lot to my life. This place, because it was at this place that, you know, I started work by 7 in the morning and I closed by 9 at night. So it gave me a lot of time to read. I really read a lot when I was working at this place. But my job was not glamorous. My job was, I was the one picking the dirt. I was the one cleaning the entire place. And sometimes some funny things would happen. Some kids would see you with, you know, the picker, and they would throw more stuff on the floor, and they will run away and laugh at you as you pick them up. I remember my manager in this job once telling me that I would be a good replacement to him when he retires. When he retires. And this guy was still quite young. But I knew where I was going to. And thanks to my mentors, they were able to help bring me up to where they are, to help bring me up, bring me along in their journey, teach me, spend time with me, impact into my life. That was why when we are building Freelancer.com, we knew that mentorship is such an important aspect of it, because I knew that I wouldn't be what I am today without the right mentors. So if you are here and you've ever mentored anyone, on behalf of those mentees, I want to say thank you for impacting into people's lives. Thank you for making a difference into people's life. I for sure wouldn't be who I am today, or I wouldn't be doing the things I'm doing today if people like Mrs. Vivian did not come along. If people like Mr. Sola did not stare at the right time. So mentorship is so important. So thank you, Mr. Sola, for this amazing time that you've spent with us. There are 120 people on the Clubhouse forum. There are many of us here. We are recording this. millions will be impacted by the story you've just told us. It goes without saying that all the young people on this platform today are so grateful for such knowledge and such legacy people like yourself are impacting to us. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And having said that, if you have any questions for Mr. Sola, please, if you go back to that link that we shared for the poll, you'll see like there's a Q&A at the top. Please direct your question to us, and Mr. Sola will be able to take it. Or if you can come up to the stage if you have a question and ask Mr. Sola, or if you're on Zoom, you can ask your question. Yeah, so we're welcoming questions at the moment. So I see one from Samuel. Is that Ms. Sizu?
I think that he's raising his hand, and I don't know if he's on Clubhouse.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see one from Samuel on Zoom. So Samuel, please ask your question, unmute and ask your question.
Hi everybody. Thanks for the platform, and specifically thanks to my friend 60s for inviting me. Just a quick one to the moderator, right? Great section. I have worked in PwC myself, and I have just left the firm as well. But I just wanted to ask a broader question, and that relates to. And that relates.
Please, hi, Mr. Samuel. Sorry for cutting you in. I would want to request that one of the moderators would help us to put the mic very close to Mr. Samuel's question, so that those on Clubhouse will be able to hear his question and be able to interact and relate to his question as well. Mr. Sixtus, if you can help to do that, please, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, I've done that.
All right, I appreciate you. Please, Mr. Samuel, once again, I apologize for cutting into your question. The mic is yours. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Thanks. So my question is, I just left Nigeria to UK for my master's, and there are a lot of things that I'm actually looking forward to. But I just wanted to ask the moderator that what I know he has moved from job to job in the UK and I think in the US as well, like he mentioned. But I just wanted to ask, what was the experience like in terms of being able to work in foreign land? So what was the experience like? How was he able to push through the system and being able to be recognized for his work? I don't know if you understand the context I'm coming from.
Yeah, I think I do, Samuel. I think I do understand where you're coming from. So, I mean, the question is, let me kind of summarize the question. What you're saying is that, how do you work in a different environment where you're unknown and, to some degree, the color of your skin does matter, right? How do you do that? Well, the way you do it is that you focus on the work, right? You can't focus on the politics. You can't focus on your gender. You can't focus on anything apart from the work. Do a good job, whatever that job is, whether it's a menial job or a programming job or a business, whatever you're doing, do it well, because your work will speak for you, right? It's your focus on the actual work. It's the actual doing that is important. Now, people would then say to me, oh yeah, but I'm doing a good job, but my manager is keeping me suppressed. I understand that. That's why you need a mentor to coach you to manage up. How do you manage up? You see, unlike the Nigerian environment, where to some degree, you don't have to prove yourself. You're already proving yourself by working at all, right? In a different culture, in a different environment, you're an unknown to some degree. And that's why whatever we do, we should remember that we're not just doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for the generations behind us. I don't know whether you've been to a place and they say, oh, you're from Nigeria. We had a guy who worked here, was from Nigeria. He was very hardworking, right? That means somebody went before you, left a legacy for you to follow. So I would say focus on your work, focus very hard on it. And if you're finding that you're coming into some obstructions or obstacles, then get some mentoring, get some coaching, understand the environment. That would be what I can say. I hope that's helpful, Mr. Samuel.
Hi, Mr. Samuel. I would like to get back to you. Was that helpful to you?
Yes, that was very helpful. Thank you, Mr. Sola.
No problem.
Once again, we appreciate you for asking that intelligent question. And moving on to other members, others on the platform. Once again, we want to specially welcome you to this training today, this session today with Mr. Sola. This is brought to you by the Freelance organization. What we do is very simple. We try as much as possible to take the African talent to the world. We are so committed to ensure that beyond just being intelligent Kenyan or Nigerian who is very techy, we want to ensure that you are also helpful in terms of solving the tech problems that exist in other parts of the world. And this is what this organization stands for. To be part of the large community, do well to click on the link that is directly above my head and that of Mr. Mobu and Dr. Yewande to belong to the general WhatsApp platform. Once you do, you will be able to engage our activities substantially and importantly. That said, I want to once again ask if you have any question. For those of us on Clubhouse, do well to raise your hand. And for those of us on Zoom, we have a quite number of people on Zoom. And we want to say thank you very much for all joining in. Please do well to raise your hand so that we can be able to take your question. Or if you have a comment to make, please, the floor is yours. Please, Mr. Mobu, let me get back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have some questions coming in on the Q&A session. So right. we have a question. Is the first one says, how do we reach a mentor who seems to be on a very high pedestal? How do we reach a mentor? I guess the question is almost like, how can we meet someone like you, sir? And how can that person become a mentor to us? It's usually very difficult. There's a lot of barrier. I remember I was hammering this on my team meeting few days ago, that you can reach everybody, but even inside of me, I was saying, is it true? Yeah. So how do we actually meet a mentor like yourself, sir?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna refer primarily to Simon Sinek. So Simon Sinek said something that, mentorship is like friendship advanced, right? So the way you do it is, a lot of people just write randomly without context. If you write to me randomly without context, it becomes very hard for me to respond to you. But saying that, I'm mentoring a few people that literally just wrote to me on LinkedIn, heard about you, heard this talk that you did, I would like you to mentor me. So yeah, some of it can be as simple as reaching out on LinkedIn. But I will also encourage you that sometimes it's very good for you to get to know the person also, because people that are far away, you don't really know them, right? And that's why those 7 questions are very helpful, because it helps you to engage and interact. Most people are busy. Let's not lie, right? We're very busy people. And if you're successful, most likely you're even more busy. But saying that, it shouldn't be a barrier for a genuine connection to take place. And I would say genuine connections is the best way. Also, think about why you would like that person to mentor you, because sometimes we want to, it's like me saying I want to be mentored by Joe Biden. It's like there's no context, right? But if I punch to the right level of weight, then it becomes easy for me to engage with people. And then sometimes you also need referrals, right? You need people to also introduce. The best mentor I've had, I was given. I was told, this guy is going to be a good mentor for you. Go speak to him. That was the best mentor I've ever had, ever. And, still to today, he's still my mentor. So yes, it's hard in some degree, but I think if your intentions are genuine and you're happy to kind of hang in there and keep batting, you would eventually meet the right mentor. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
I see some people nodding and
yes, sir.
like on Zoom.
It does make a lot of sense, sir.
So sorry for those of you joining us on the Clubhouse platform. We are really, really nodding our heads up here on the Zoom platform because Mr. Sola has taken us to the zenith point of understanding the real dimensions of mentorship and how it works. The part that he said, genuinity matters a lot, really resonated with me because most people want to connect to people without defining what they are. Because first of all, you need to understand your own purpose. It is when you understand your purpose that you're able to understand the reason why your mentor should be able to mentor you. And that comes to the point of being genuine with yourself and your objectives and your goals. So thank you very much, Mr. Sola, for taking us to that particular point of zenith and reality. Please, Mr. Mob, we're checking on you. Do we have more questions coming in from your own direction?
Yes, I do have one more question here. And
okay, but please, before I get
after you,
Mr. Mobo, please, I'd like to ask, I see some hands raised. Mr. Sixtus, I saw that you're raising your hand.
Yeah, Mr.
yes,
Sixtus.
but I think I will give Idesiri, sorry if I didn't pronounce it well. I'll give you the platform to ask your question first.
Okay.
Hi, Idesiri Ovori, please. The mic is yours. I would like to hear your question, and thank you for joining in. Thank you. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Idesiri Ovori. You got the position very correctly. I'm from Lagos, currently in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm doing freelance service.
Sorry, Mr. Idesiri. So sorry for cutting you. Please, Mr. Sixtus, are you able to unmute your mic? So his question is directed to the Clubhouse. Thank you very much. Idesiri, the mic is yours. Sorry for cutting in.
No problem. Okay. Hi, Mr. Sola Osinoiki. Have a good night. Thank you very much for that powerful, energetic session. I must say I learned a lot, and I was doing a retrospective thought on my own end and how things have panned out in my own life and the choices I made that brought me where I am today. I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to take us on a tangent by giving stories of my past life just to fit into the narratives of how you've come to attain the height you currently have attained. So the question is this. I taken a look at your resume and taking a look at your career path. You've touched a whole lot of professions, to say. And within how long, though you didn't say how long you spent on all the jobs, but just going to do a random pick. Let's say you spent about 2 years on the job and you're able to learn all that is required, and you're able to raise above the peak of the required expectation in that job. I'm sort of wondering how we're able to put all this together, how are you able to easily switch careers so easily, despite the fact that you didn't have a background in that particular field, but you find yourself having a better soft landing and hitting the pace and hitting the right goal and achieving the greatest height in every of the path you've chosen to go in life. I think my question was direct. I don't know if it was clear enough.
Yeah. Your question is clear. Your question is clear. Sorry. Oh no. Hold on a second. Sorry, Clubhouse just did something to me. Okay. Let me unmute Clubhouse. Okay. So your question basically was around, how was I able to achieve success in the areas of the places that I touched in my career? I would say honestly, by the grace of God, and I'm not just saying that because I'm religious, but that's true. It's by the grace of God, but also a lot of hard work. And I'll take just one example, and I can give you multiple examples. I'm an avid learner. I'm an avid learner. When I joined the College of Law as a programmer, having taught myself how to program and gone through the interview process. Let me just give you extra here. When I went for the interview at the College of Law, I had 2 interviews on that day. On that day, I had an interview with Oracle, which by then I didn't even know who Oracle was. And I had an interview with the College of Law. I was very good in my interview. And actually, they gave me the job on the spot. But to complete the interview process, I had to do a technical interview. And I'll be honest with you, when I went to the technical interview, I had 7 questions. No, I had 10 questions was asked in the technical interview. And God is my witness. I could not answer one question, not one, because I had learned by myself. I was a homegrown, home-taught expert, if you like. And so my boss at the time, Chris Harris, came into the room and was like, oh, so they really loved you in the interview. So how you get on with the technical bit? And I'm like, I don't know anything. Like, I honestly don't know how to answer any of the questions. And so Chris went to the whiteboard and began to take each question. Question number 1, he said, okay, you taught yourself. So therefore you're thinking in the GUI interface rather than in code. Okay, let me rephrase the question for you. And literally he rephrased every 6 questions. He rephrased them for me. Then, okay, if you were doing this in the GUI interface, how would you do it? Yeah, you say create table, create form, right? Okay, so that's how you answer it. And basically, he basically rephrased the 6 questions. And so I got 6 out of 10. That's how I got the job. A week before I started the job, he invites me over and he says, you know, after you left, every other person we interviewed without my help got 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. You know, you had the worst results, but I still feel I should take a chance on you. Don't let me down. And so that's the starting point. So I go into this company as the least qualified programmer. But like I said to you, within 2 years, I was their best programmer. Why? Because when I finished work at 6 o'clock, I went home, had a meal till 7, and from 7 to midnight, I was cracking how to become a better programmer. And then I found my niche. So here's a key point, is that I found my niche. My niche was, back then, everybody was programming .NET kind of programming, and I was more a GUI guy. And so I focused on my area of expertise, used it to engage with my customers. And actually was one of the first people that deployed a program on time, without any bugs, and with customer satisfaction. So my point is, study to show yourself approved. You know, you got to work hard, fill the gap, learn. So by the time I was leaving the company 2 years later, my boss's boss sat me down and said, how much are they paying you where you're going? Tell me how much they're going to pay you where you're going, and I will match that. And I said, no, sir. Once I made up my mind to leave a company, I'm leaving. So my boss, Nick Holt, he's still a very good friend till today, almost 20 years later. So in this array, I've given you a long answer, but I'm showing you that it's a combination of the grace of God, some people call it luck, but also hard work. Like, you cannot remove the concept of hard work. And when you work hard, you get the results. So I'm done speaking. I feel like I'm on Clubhouse now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Diligence is the mother of good luck, I would say.
Yeah.
Thank you for that powerful one. I must say you really struck the nail on the head with your illustrative examples, and I would say it's quite a good answer for me. I'll serve okay with your response. I would say, no sincerity. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Olusola.
All right. For those of you on Clubhouse, I didn't hear what Idesere said. He said the answer to my question was hitting the nail on the head, and he thanked me for the answer. So. Yeah. Either back to Sixtus?
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I was about to say that from my own end. Your response was full of wisdom. In fact, when you spoke, I began to think through the realities of your thoughts. And you spoke like a man who has been in the realm of not just knowledge, but in wisdom. And I must say that you did not only answer Mr. Edesere's question, you indirectly responded to a certain question I was just about to coin to send to you, but out of wisdom, you were quite practical to respond to that. And I'm so much in the know that Mr. Edesire has been helped, and I have also been helped. Thank you very much, Mr. Olushola. I appreciate you. All right, please let me quickly rush back to Mr. Mobo. Do we have questions from your end, please? And Mr. Sixtus?
I did have.
Okay, Sisters, we'll come back to you. Let's just take one question from Clubhouse.
Okay.
So Queen on Clubhouse, you say you have a question. Please, could you ask your question? Queen on Clubhouse.
Hi, Queen.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Queen, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Shora. I have a very personal question to ask. For those of us who have not really had mentors before, it's a new terrain for us. So how do we ensure that we are not mismanaging a mentor-mentee relationship? Because I know that sometimes some people, when they have a mentor, any little problem, they want to be mentor, like they can't solve anything on their own. And some people just, I've heard of people mismanaging a mentor. And I'm sure you've had your experiences with people. Some things have happened and you're like, no, this is not how it goes. So what are those red flags in mentor-mentee relationships?
All right, it's a really good question. Not an easy answer though, because there are complexities to a mentor-mentee relationship, which starts with the mentor themselves and the mentee in question. But here are some of my simple principles. Number one, value your mentor's time. Right? If you do everything with the mindset of valuing your mentor's time, it means that you're showing up correctly. Right? So number one, value your mentor's time. Number two, never go to a mentor without an outline. So some people show up for a mentor-mentee relationship and they're kind of like, oh yeah, we're supposed to meet. So what are we going to talk about? Right? A mentor doesn't have time to, they're not your mother or your father. They are a mentor. So they're going to invest into you as much as you invest into it yourself. That's number two. So number one, value your mentor's time. Number two, come with an agenda. Anybody that asks me as a mentor to set the agenda, you're on the wrong path already, right? So you set the agenda because it's your relationship to manage. Number three, respect, right? So a lot of people cross the line between friendship with a mentor and losing respect for them. So one of the things that devalues your relationship with a mentor the quickest is disrespect. So when I say disrespect, I'm not just talking about their time. I'm talking about when I say to you, look, I think you should try X. And it's like, oh, I don't think it's going to work. Then why are you coming to me, right? Because you've come to me for my wisdom and my advice. You don't have to, I'm not saying you have to agree with me all the time, but at least to respect what I'm saying to you, number three. Then number four, bear in mind that your mentor, even if you're paying them, doesn't owe you anything. All they owe you is to show up for you. And you have to then work with them. So realize that it's a work in progress rather than an end. And I'll give you one story because I think it's one of my favorite. Barry, who was asked to mentor me. I go to his office. I remember it like it's today. I went to his office and he said, hello, Shola, I hear, they tell me that you were good. That's what they tell me. But I don't know you from Adam. So in this room, you're going to have to prove how good you are. And if you can't prove to my grandmother in a pub in England what you do is good, then you're wasting your time, right? Because if you're going to come in here and talk to me in techno, mumbo, jumbo, I'm not interested. You know, are you a man of the people? Are you as good as they say you are? Because if you are, then we'll have a good time. And, 6 years later, Barry's still my mentor. So I'm just saying that, he didn't owe me anything. It's like, well, I'm going to mentor you, but I'm not coming in with any assumptions about you. You've got to drive this. And and I'm glad that it was a relationship that I still continue to today. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm sure, honestly, if you Google how to be a great mentor or mentee, sorry, if you Google how to be a great mentee, there's a lot of things that will come up on Google. But those are the ones I've shared with you are my own principles and what have worked for me. And I, as much as I've probably been mentored over 100 people in my career, I've also been mentored by about 10 or 11 people. And most of those people that have mentored me, I'm still in good relationship with them as of today. So,
yes,
hope that's helpful.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. To check back to you, Queen. Hi, Queen. Was that helpful to you, please?
Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank you.
All right, we appreciate you. I would like to say that the responses and the principles related to us by Mr. Shola also communicated what was written in the book, the third world nation to first class nation, that the experience of Singapore, as Lee Kuan Yew, he mentioned in that book, he said, if you must go through the path of greatness, under submitting yourself to mentors and even mentees, you must be able to value. The word value has been underrated. However, there is need for us to value our mentors, because if you have not valued yourself and what you represent and your standard, you are not going to value the mentor and even the mentee. So thank you very much, Mr. Shola. And the second point, come with an agenda. Respect your mentor. And your mentor doesn't owe you anything at all. It's a work in progress. I personally am loyal to these principles because they are what will help you to grow from the path where you are onto the path of greatness. Every mentor wants you to succeed. And if you must succeed, going by these principles will help you. Just as mentioned by Mr. Shola, you can as well go on Google to do further research. Once again, we appreciate you, Queen, for coming with that powerful, indifferent question. I will go back to Mr. Mobile, please. Do we have more questions from your end, please?
Awesome. So we're going. Thank you so much, Izu, and thank you so much, Mr. Shola, for the response. In respect to the time of my mentors who are here, we're going to be ending soon. So I'll just be taking one more question from the general manager of Freelancer. Yeah. So sisters.
Well, please, I was just about, before I call on Mr. Sixtus, honestly speaking, I don't want to let Mr. Shola to go. And I don't also want to let your mentor to go. Because ever since this man started speaking, I have personally been built, because I am like a student in the school of the spirit. I love to learn a lot. And meeting such an individual is a privilege, and I am honored and humbled. Well, what can I say? We have to move on. I would want at this point yield the mic to you, the general manager, the man of capacity, and I'm talking about Mr. Sixtus, the first class graduate with so much economic strength and strategies in terms of delivering the standards that has kept us as an organization. The mic is yours, Mr. Sixtus. I love your profile picture on Clubhouse. God bless.
Thank you very much, Izu. That was actually a lengthy introduction. It might not be as good as making it look. Okay, I just have a quick question. I had many before, but just like Mobu said, we are time conscious. I'll just ask a little one, and I believe other people will also benefit from this
your
question.
Clubhouse, sir. Your Clubhouse, please. Thank you.
Sorry. Let me unmute my mic. Okay. Right. Okay. So my question is, considering the African environment, because when you were giving your lecture, you did mention that at every point at your workplace, you've had a mentor. Now, I've worked in Nigeria here, I think since 2016, and I've been in different organizations and different sectors. I recently have had to change a career to a different direction, which I believe is best suited for me. But the question I want to ask is this: at every point in the organization I've worked at in Nigeria here, I didn't see this mentorship relationship being practiced, or I don't see the possibility of that, because one of the things that happen in this organization is that people, let's say people are mostly scared of the managers or those who are ahead of them. because everything everyone is interested in is do your job, I pay you, go home. No one actually cares about this one-on-one kind of relationship. In fact, it's almost like a fight, when you work in some places in Nigerian organizations. So I wanted to ask, I think you also coming from a Nigerian origin, do you think, or how can people try to establish a mentor-mentee relationship in this kind of organizations that are structured in this way?
Okay. I will give a response, and then with Mobu's permission, maybe we can get Vivian also to respond also to this topic. But I would set the scene a little bit and then try and answer your question. So set the scene a little bit that actually, I think it's a mindset thing, right? So yes, you're right that maybe most of the examples I gave, but actually, let me give you two examples that I didn't give because it wasn't relevant. When I was working at my youth service, my boss at the time was actually a great mentor, and I'm still in touch with the family to today, almost 30 years later. When I worked for Nigerian Port Authority doing my internship, there were two engineers who really helped and mentored me and showed me how I could navigate my career at the time. Even though I did not end up being in civil engineering anymore, but at least they helped me at the time. So, and then I also am involved in mentoring people in Nigeria. Even this morning, I had a mentor meeting with a chief marketing officer of a reputable company in Nigeria. So if you want it, you can get it. One of my mentors that just came on board recently is in South Africa, Johannesburg. He just reached out to me on LinkedIn. He works for Absa, the bank, and now we're connected. So I think it's a mindset thing, right? Yes, I do agree that even in the UK, even in America, some people are afraid to mentor other people because they're afraid of people passing them. And I'll tell one story. Like, I'm a man full of stories, but I'll tell one story, then I want to hand over to Vivian because I would like to hear what she has to say to this. And I'll tell you this story. When I joined PricewaterhouseCoopers as a manager, my boss at the time, or my line manager, was a senior manager. And this guy was blocking me. Like, he was literally intentionally saying to me that I can't see you progress. Every time I said, okay, I'm ready to progress, the guy was like, no, you're not ready. You're not ready. And I remember we were in Glasgow on a client event and we were having dinner together. And I looked him in the eye and I said, this ends here. It ends right here. You're no more going to be my line manager because you're not going to push me forward. So we end this here. And the guy said to me, oh, please don't end it today, because if you end it today, it's going to affect my own performance review. So can you end it on the 1st of April, right? So I ended it on the 1st of April, got a new line manager. Within 9 months, I was promoted to senior manager. So we're now on the same level. Within 3 years or 2.5 years, I became my former manager's boss, right? Now he was reporting to me. So he didn't want to progress forward. So I had to navigate out of the way from him to get to a place where in which he's still on the same level I met him when I joined PwC almost 10 years ago. He's still on the same level. That was his intention, not mine. So I'm just saying that to say, even in the UK, you can still have obstacles. It's not all plain sailing, but it's your intention and your mindset that changes everything. All right, Mr. Mobu, back to you, or to Vivian. If I know she's on Clubhouse, but I don't think she's on. Oh, she's not on Clubhouse. She's on Zoom, but maybe she would jump in.
Yeah,
oh, there she is.
She's here. Hello, Ma. Good to see you.
Hi. Can you hear me? I need to go.
Sisters, can you please unmute for the people on Clubhouse, please?
All right.
I don't know. Please,
Can
Mr.
you hear me?
Do we have your mentor on Clubhouse, please?
No, it's fine. Don't worry about that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
First of all, Sola, this is like putting me on the spot, but I want to say thank you for sharing your story. I've actually learned a lot myself. It was really amazing listening to you. And thank you for this opportunity that I wasn't expecting. And I just wanted to add to what Shola has said in the sense that mentoring can also come indirectly. So you can, like, he's giving you 4 books to read. Now, for me, I could go read that book and I can get some sort of mentorship from that. I can learn from that. I can kind of put me forward, propel me in my career. In terms of, so I don't know, so that was question. I can't remember what the question is because I think, and I wasn't expecting to talk. So what was the question?
The question is more around how does mentoring work in a Nigerian culture?
Okay, so I've never worked in a Nigerian setting, so I think I'm the wrong person to answer that. I really don't know because I've never worked in I've never
It's
worked in
just good to
Nigeria.
see your face and hear your voice.
Yes, I'm sorry, I can't help with that one. I'll be lying if I said I knew how to. But however, I think mentoring works regardless of, cultural barriers. And it is the same thing Shola has said, seek out a mentor, seek out somebody that is experienced or has is where you want to be, where you see yourself, in 2-3 years, and you want to be that. So seek that person out. Like he said, don't waste their time. It's not about, some people actually say to you, it's not about what can they do for you, sometimes about what can you do for them. So you can actually, you can start by wanting to help them, saying, you know what, I'm good at this. Maybe you're good at social media and I've noticed that your social media handles isn't that great. I can help you do that. And then so it becomes a symbiotic relationship where, because of your help towards them, they're also happy to, to give you their time. They're happy to mentor you. Okay. So again, don't always think about it from how can they help me? Or you can actually go from the other direction. How can I help them? How can I add value to their life? Because we all have value to add to people, regardless of where we are in life. Okay. So yeah, so I think it's the same thing regardless of where you are, what country you're in. Is to seek out that person that actually inspires you. Reach out to them via LinkedIn. I like the question of how can you reach out to people that seem, unreachable or unapproachable. Again, maybe they're unapproachable because they're busy people. They have so many people that they're also mentoring, but they might have a book they've written that you can go by and you can learn through that. So again, that's indirect mentoring. Okay, so that's all I have to say to that. Thank you, Shola, for this.
No worries. Can I just jump in before I hand back to the moderator, chairman, Mr. Mobu? What Vivian just brought there is very valuable. And I realized that I probably missed a little bit of something by not saying that also, right? The
Sorry,
recent...
Mr. Shola, your mic on Clubhouse is off. Please.
Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, thank you. I was just going to say that Vivian brought a very, very vital point. And maybe I should have thought about it when I was answering the original question about how do you reach out to people who are unreachable. That by serving them, right? By giving back to them, by approaching them with a solution. One of my mentees came to me the other day and said, look, I see some of your graphics are not as perfect. Can you send them over to me and I'll help you fix that? And so if you go and look at my LinkedIn profile or you looked at my Josh Leadership Academy, 90% of those things that are on there were done by my mentee. Took my words and then made some graphics out of it. So Vivian makes a really, very important point, is that actually you can get your mentor's attention by solving problems for them. So I just want to kind of reiterate that point. And I'm glad, if that was the only reason for bringing you up, I'm glad you brought that in, because the reality is that if you solve somebody else's problems, my boss, when I was working as a youth server, with a copper, I taught his wife how to drive, right? And that gave me access, right? More access than any other copper. To the extent that when I finished my youth service, they gave me a job. So, because they realized that I was adding value to them. So, but thank you, Vivian. That was very, very powerful. And I think on that note, I'm done speaking.
Thank you
Please,
so much.
We don't want you to be done speaking. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Vivian, and thank you so much, Mr. Shola. Guys, when a child wants to keep their thing to themselves, I feel like even just hiding these people a bit so that you people don't really know where I get my source from. but truly, you are in the presence of global leaders, right? Mrs. Vivian is a human capital development expert, a global human capital development expert. You more time, like you do not come across her and remain the same. Like it just does not happen with your individual career. So please do follow her on LinkedIn. Mr. Shola, the same thing. You don't come across these people and remain the same. And one of the things I love about mentors is that they're able to, take you to places that you could have never gone. And to even add to the answer, for sisters, the question you asked, about that, I always say this. It's one of my favorite quotes. Do not you can be a local champion but a global non-entity. You can be a local champion but a global non-entity. And that is the scenario and situation of a lot of people in Nigeria, for example. But what am I trying to say in effect? I'm trying to say the world is open to you. So when people that are local are not rising up to the task, the world is open to you. Thank God for the internet, and thank God for all the innovations that are happening. Thank God for even the metaverse that is coming, whereby there is you won't need passports to be in anywhere in the world. So literally the world is open to you. So you can reach anyone, anywhere. And I want to close by saying this. Wisdom determines success. But there are two ways to get wisdom: mentors and mistakes. Mistakes are so expensive and sometimes even irreparable. However, identifying uncommon mentors is the master key to success. Mentors transfer wisdom through relationship. And this is proven in the good book, Proverbs chapter 13:20. It says, "He that walks with the wise man shall be wise, but the companion of fools shall fail." So on that note, I want to thank you, every single one who has spent time with us today. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you learned a lot. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And thank you, Mr. Shola. Please just, if you can raise your hand to just or just touch your mic to just say, let that be a form of clap. Thank you so much to these amazing mentors for being here today. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. We are so grateful. We do not take it for granted. So on that note, we would like to invite you to Frolancer.com. Frolancer.com, like I said, is a platform whereby we connect, talented people from Africa to businesses all over the world. And also it's a platform built on rising by lifting others, and a platform built on mentorship. So even when you are not as good as in what you do, you are able to find mentors who have gone ahead of you. That was one of the things Mr. Shola said, finding people who have gone ahead of you. People who have gone ahead of you, achieve the things you've not yet achieved. And they will be able to guide you, to navigate you to get to, where they've gotten to. And sometimes a great mentor, one of the signs of a great mentor is that they are willing for you to do a lot more than they even achieved. And that is something I found in both Mrs. Vivian and Mr. Shola. These are amazing mentors. A mentor can get you entry to most stages in life. At one point I faced a huge blocker, whilst we were building the Freelancer platform. And I mentioned that to Mr. Shola, and immediately, as we were still speaking, Mr. Shola took the phone and called the CEO of that company. Within 20 minutes, I got immediately, the CEO had assigned someone to attend to me particularly. And that person has been on my case because of what? A mentor introduced me. So there is power in mentorship, but it takes humility. You must submit to the right mentor, and they will help you get to where you dream. And we will close this by prayer. We will close this by prayer and honoring the mentor of all mentors, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and the one who has made it possible for us to be here today, in the person of our Lord Jesus Christ. So I will kindly ask for I'm just trying to pick someone from the stage, for our general manager, to please close us in a prayer. So, Mr. Sisters, please do close us in a prayer.
Okay, thank you very much, Mobo, for this opportunity to close us in a prayer. It's
Please,
going
you
to be
on Clubhouse as well?
On Clubhouse, okay. Okay, all right, let's submit to the Most High, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to hear from Mr. Shola, and we also appreciate the wisdom and the knowledge which you've impacted upon them, which they are translating into us